Meanwhile, back on Earth, President Biden's border crisis getting worse by the day. The UN now calling the U.S. southern border the deadliest land route in the world. There was a horrific smuggling tragedy last week in San Antonio, Texas. A group of officials and lawmakers from that state now pushing to recognize the border crisis as a, quote, invasion, a constitutional declaration which could allow the governor to deport migrants. Texas Republican Congressman Jodey Arrington leading that charge. He joins me now from Plainview, Texas. Sir, good to have you on. Thanks for your time today. Just go ahead and make your case about what you see here, and then I'll ask you a few.
Well, the Constitution is clear and explicit. If the federal government fails in its guarantee, its covenant with each and every state, to protect it against an invasion, then the states retain the sovereignty and the power of self-defense. They defend their sovereign border, they protect their citizens in a situation like that. And I think by a number of accounts, this is an invasion. It is a deluge of people coming and the economic and social cost associated with that. The volume of drugs, which is the leading cause of death for people in this country aged 18 to 45, and the other criminal activity, it is overwhelming. The president has been derelict to faithfully execute the laws of the land and provide a common defense. The federal government has abandoned Texas and other border states, and it is not only our right, but I believe our duty to our citizens to step up and stop this nonsense.
Didn't know if you saw our last hour, but our correspondent Bill Malusian saw something today from a drone that he's been down there for a year. Just the number of those in that sweltering heat that have crossed today alone will blow your mind. A couple numbers for you, right? 2021, 728 migrant deaths and disappearance at the U.S.-Mexican border. That's up 53% from the year prior. Just stunning numbers here. Jonathan Turley says you don't have a legal leg to stand on. His headline is Invasion or Evasion, Crisis at the Border is a political and not a constitutional problem. I won't read it all, but he says you don't have much to go on here. How would you counter that?
Well, on a couple of levels. First of all, it hasn't been meted out at the in the courts, so this question does not have a lot of case law, because I think the United States gave great deference because of the clarity in the provision for states to reserve the self-defense power. The other issue, you've had a Supreme Court where conservative judges like Antonin Scalia, Alito, and Thomas said in the case of Arizona that they should be able to enforce the laws of the land, even the federal laws. And if they can't do that in that manner, then we should stop calling them sovereign states. Those are the words of Justice Antonin Scalia. So I think most Americans can read that constitutional language. This is not case law. This is not federal or state statute. This is our Constitution, and this is a scenario where it has to be activated, or we're going to get 2+ more years of those staggering numbers, and it's unacceptable and it's unsustainable.
Just last point here. I've just got a short time left here. If Republicans run the table in November, do you think this policy at the border changes? Or do you believe it goes on for 2 more years after that?
Well, I hate to say this, but I don't see any interest, any political will on account of our chief executive and commander-in-chief to relent from his open border policies. Now, we will push back with the power of the purse strings. We will certainly turn on the oversight and investigation, and you may even have impeachments of Secretary Mayorkas for his abject failure to enforce laws. But at the end of the day, you're going to have 2 more years of the lawlessness and chaos. If Texas and other states do not step up like those county executives have, like the AG from Arizona, Brnovich, has, and say enough's enough, we're going to enforce the laws, we're going to deport people who shouldn't be here, and we're going to protect our citizens first and uphold the Constitution. So I see this as the last line of defense. It's extenuating circumstances. This is an extenuating measure, but it's one that's there for a reason.
We'll see if it's successful ultimately or not. Jodey Arrington, thank you for your time. Plainview, Texas today.
Thank you,
on this July afternoon. Thank you. Sam.
All right, thank you, Bill. Top American